Every month I'll be asking a new interviewee what they have overcome to build the life they have now. And today I'm delighted to be talking to Amanda Fisher. So Amanda Fisher is CEO of Amey PLC. She's leading a company with revenues of 2.2 billion and employing 17,000 people. I've spoken to lots of women and I have not seen as many just clarity on direction. I'm going to get involved in this organization and I'm going to get as high as I possibly can. And I'm going to do it on my terms.
I've never, ever considered myself ambitious. I'm competitive. I am super competitive, but I'm not ambitious. But the one thing I've always done in my life is I've always sort of recognized the importance of looking longer term rather than just in the moment. So that's with everything that I do. You know, I've got long-term goals rather than just focusing on the steps that are here and now to get wherever I need to be.
What was the attraction to the army, to the forces?
I actually wanted to be in the Merchant Navy. So at 8 years old, I went on a cruise with my parents and I saw the purser's job and I thought that's exactly what I want to do, which was be like a catering manager on the water. But they didn't take girls back then. In those days, it was boys only. And as it happened, it was whilst I was at university, my first year, that I saw an advert for the Army, for the Women's Royal Army Corps, as it was back then. Because even back then, in those days, the women weren't part of the regular army. We had our own corps that you were part of.
What did you get from being in the army?
The one thing it did, I think, is resilience. When everything else is sort of around you is starting to collapse and people are going into a panic, I think true leaders, that's when they are able to step up and you just see clarity and vision and you know what to do because you've been through the training that's taken you there, because ultimately we're all trying to go out to war and to fight and to defend the country. And it all sounds very grand, but when you bring it down, it's how you behave in that kind of situation. So you take that out of being in sort of a military environment and you move that into a work environment, which actually really at times isn't that different in terms of, you know, the people, the situations, and you just can apply that same logic, the same thinking. You go back to, you know, the sort of the core of what it is. You recognize the problem, you do the analysis very quickly, and then you just get moving. And you don't have to have all the answers. And people think you have to have the answers, and you don't. They will come by working with others as a team, and that's what the military also shows you. So I was able to just come in and be myself. And I think this is the key thing, is being genuine, who you are. You have to be genuine, you have to be true, and you have to believe in what you're doing, that it's the right thing. And then I had to back myself to say, if this is what I've truly believed all my life in my career, then why would I do something different now that I have the chance, I have the responsibility? And you normally find that if you're thinking something, others think the same. Whether you act what you think, that's usually where this dichotomy occurs. But I genuinely believe in our people. You tend to find as leaders, people keep it just to a small group at the top or to themselves. And rather than bringing in, you know, the organization, ultimately you still have to make the decision. That's what I'm paid for. But you can, you know, ask for advice, you can opinion, what people think. Because that I have found, even through the way I have performed in my own life, is that, you know, people who are given freedom, actually they work smarter and they work harder and they give more of themselves. Now, I always thought, if I could do that with 17,000 people, then my goodness, then we have got strong organization.
In your early days, you didn't articulate and highlight what you've done. And you didn't bring out, look, I've done this and this is the value I've added. And I don't know, when did you work out that that was not cool? And what have you done about it since? And what would you say to other women about it?
It was quite a defining moment for me. I was doing well in the role I was doing for this organization. Also, I had male counterpart. Now, when we were doing our business reviews and presenting, I was just giving out the facts, what I was doing. He was sort of embellishing on those facts and really selling. And I started to recognize that it didn't matter how good my business was, and it was performing better than my counterparts. There wasn't the recognition there. I then actually did a course at the Institute of Directors, and that just changed how I thought, because I had to position myself differently, and I had to sell. And it's the one thing that I say to people today: whatever you're talking about, whatever you're doing, you're actually in a position of selling. Whether it's yourself, what you've done, your attributes, the company, the piece of work that you're doing. It might be writing a paper. You've got to present it in a way that you're selling it. So I changed how I then conducted those interviews, and I said, look, this is the value that I'm bringing as opposed to the work I've done. So I was starting to present myself differently, and within 6 months I made managing director.
I've seen you in a few roles now. I saw opportunities where I thought you could have had this role earlier.
You can have an influence and control certain things, and then there are things you can't. Now, I don't worry about the things that I can't control. And when I use control, I'm saying that I can't really influence. Now, other people's behaviours and whether they've put obstacles in the way, whatever, that I can't do anything about that. But what I can do is, as you were saying before, you can navigate your way through them. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's timing. If there is one wish, the genie in the bottle that I would always wish for is great timing. It's difficult to say how others see you from the outside, and it's also about how you feel about yourself. I mean, I suffer from the same as all women. Are you good enough? Can you do it? You focus tend to be sometimes more on the things that that could go wrong rather than can go right, or all of those insecurities. But when the timing is right, you have to know that you've got to take it and make that jump. And in a way, I'll say, just hold your nose and jump.
Yeah.
It'll be all right. There will be a parachute there of sorts.
How did you feel about taking the Amey, the CEO of Amey role? That's a big job.
Oh, I know. Don't I know it? But I knew it before I took it. And sometimes it's a case of, well, if others think I can do it and I've demonstrated that there is something there, going all the way back to my time of Sandhurst, going to be a leader for the very first time, they recognizing something in me that I probably am not aware of, then I have the courage to go with it, and that's what I did. And I sound like a stuck record, but you cannot ignore the value that people bring to the organization, and they're the ones who keep the organization afloat.
Yeah, and keep the country running.
Yeah,
keep the roads drivable, and keep the absolutely. So, yeah. If you had one thing to say to women at whatever stage of their career, what do you think you would say to them?
My advice is be yourself. It sounds really, really simple, but be yourself, because take yourself to work. I always say that. Take yourself to work. Be yourself at work. Just keep it straightforward. Be true to yourself, and that will take you through. And I think it takes a lot of courage to be yourself, to do the things that you genuinely believe in.
Well done on having the courage to be who you are, and thank you for being who you are, because I think it's made a real difference.
And thank you for that.